Hey guys, and happy Halloween. It's your favorite creative book here with a new video. This time I'm taking you all the way back to the early Cretaceous period, specifically the Barremian era, aka 125 million years ago. Why am I taking you back to when dinosaurs were the most present subset animal on the planet? It's because today's doll is my interpretation of a baryonyx if she was a monster. Baryonyx is one of my favourite dinosaurs. It's actually an English native like myself, with its fossils being first found in a clay pit in Ockley, Surrey in the early 1980s by William Walker. They're believed to have been mostly ichthyophagous, which are fish eaters. However, there's been fossils found with juvenile iguanodon bones, suggesting it may have scavenged or even hunted them when times were difficult. Taking this all into consideration, I drew up a design. As they were originally discovered in the 80s, I looked into what was popular for English teen girls back then, as well as asked my eldest uncle, who was a teenager himself in the 80s. As for the tail, I went the bird route, mainly because birds are the only surviving dinosaur. Technically they're not dinosaurs, but they are left, but also because I knew the clothes would need to be bright, and birds didn't have a lot of bright colours on their feathers. I also wanted to do a fluffy feathery tail, and the way waterfowl feathers look is so cool to me. So here we were, design in hand, and I knew exactly who to use: Jane Boolittle. She had the big sister body type that would allow for a bigger tail, and her facial features matched the expression I was planning. Now I knew the base doll I was using, I set about designing the doll itself. I went with pink and yellow as outfit colours, not only because they were in theme with the 80s aesthetic, but also because they didn't clash with the purples and blues in her skin and tail colours. It's the same line of thinking that had me set on simple black pumps. They matched the style of the era and didn't draw too much attention from the outfit or the rest of the design. The face and hair were the most difficult choices colour-wise, as I wasn't sure if I was going to go all out or go with something neutral. In the end, I turned back to birds, and if you know birds, you'll realise the female's faces are often dull and a bit bland compared to the male's, so that helped me choose the browns and blues and purples that give her a more no makeup look. Of course, the design ends up changing slightly in the end, but I'll explain that in a bit. First of all, how I dyed the feathers. I actually don't think it was that difficult. I bought them from a craft store, and after making sure they were real, not synthetic, so they wouldn't melt, I put them in hot water and added drops of food colouring gel. I kept them in the pot over a low heat for about 30 minutes before I scooped them out and washed them thoroughly until no more dye leaked into the water. If I didn't like the colours, I'd add more purple or blue dye to the pot and add them back in. Rinse and repeat, and I eventually had home-dyed feathers, and the dye mixture was made from actual food, so it was safe to pour down the sink. Once I dyed the feathers, I turned my attention to making the tail. That too was simple enough, but if you're unsure, Delightful's Evolution doll videos have a few different methods. I first cut out the fabric, then cut double the length of the wire I needed, bent it towards itself and twisted it into a sturdy structure. Once the wire was bent to shape, I turned my attention back to the fabric, sewing the right sides together, then turning it in on itself to create a sleeve. After that, I put the wire inside and stuffed it with leftover yarn fluff from making doll hair, sewing it closed with about 10 centimeters of wire left outside to go into the body. I then measured the wire, had my dad drill a hole into the doll body, and adjusted the hole according to the fit. Once that was done, I took the feathers and started to glue them to the tail, mainly working backwards from the tip of the tail. Eventually, I filled the entire tail, and it was done. Next up, the hair. This took the better part of 2 to 3 months to do because of my chronic pain and illnesses acting up. leaving me not only bedbound for the majority of May, yes, that's when I rerouted her, but I was completely drained of energy. I also had to stop working on her completely a couple times because I caught a couple nasty bugs and didn't want her to have germs on her. Yucky. Once her hair was rerouted, I poured Fabri-Tac glue into her neck hole and allowed her to dry. Once she was, I put her hair into a ponytail, put a protective hair cap, technically an ear cap, around it, before moving on to the face-up. After spraying her with a coat of MSC, I started off the repaint by taking my pastels and adding blush in. I attempted to bring more colour into the face, focusing on areas like the forehead and cheeks, then shifted to the lip colour. I reworked the lip shape again and again before landing on a colour and shape I was happy with. Next, I worked on the eye shapes, bringing out my watercolour pencils. I chose a colour close to her skin tone and started working with the doll's mould to get the features I wanted. Once I was happy with the outline, softening it with some pastels, I shifted to the eyebrows. Admittedly, I'm not the best at eyebrows. I tried a few different styles both on and off camera before landing on the cute circular ones you see here. Then, to hide the marks I couldn't remove completely with my kneaded eraser, I worked more white pastel into the face-up. It was at this point I sprayed the head again, then after an hour I continued to work. Once it was dry, I added in the scale pattern on her left side and built up pre-existing features that I'd worked on. During this time, I also worked on the doll's makeup, including a fairly subtle eyeshadow. This is one part of the video that's going to be slowed down and unedited. So, oops. I've got into this, right? It's like, okay, I got okay-ish to the eyes. I mean, they're not great yet, but once I spray them one more time, and they will be great eventually, just not yet. Anyways, for the last 20 odd minutes I've been doing this, I've not recorded. So, yay to me. Yay to me.
On the plus side, you guys didn't have to watch 2 seconds of me filling in both irises, because this is going to be like, at least this part won't be, but the rest of it will be sped up. So it's not unbelievably boring to you as it is kind of for me, because I can't listen to music because it is nearly, God knows at this point, I think it's nearly 9 o'clock now. Earlier on in the day I could listen to music, but it's getting dark and it's getting late. So if I listen to music, which I have to listen to through I don't want to say its name, through a device, I have to listen to music because I can't use my phone because I'm recording on my phone. And I can't do that when my dad's gone to bed, or when I have the window open because it is so hot outside that I'm quite literally boiling. On the plus side, I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't think you can, but there's tiny white freckles all around her face by accident, and I don't know if they're going to go off or not. I'm hoping they don't, but I'm betting they will. So let's just... yeah, they're off because they're just specks from me having to draw with a very sharp pencil. Okay, so most of them have gone. I don't like the sheen. I know why it's got a bit of a sheen to it. It's because of the humidity. However, considering she's a baryonyx, I think it kind of fits. So I'm not mad about it. Not mad at all about it, guys. I gave her a few scales on that side because I wanted some asymmetry in her face design because she was starting to look a bit too... I mean, not that her eyes match up perfectly or anything, so I can't get anything to look exactly the same. But it was too singular. I needed something to stand out on her face because her hair's up in a ponytail. Because she's a 70s girl. So, wow, you guys are going to have like 3 minutes of me ranting on here. Maybe I should take a minute. No, I don't want to... Future me will explain what current me wants to explain. See you guys later. Bye. Not too long after I recorded that, I put the doll down for the night as I was honestly shattered from working on her for hours. And well, the next morning when I brought out the gouache paints, I wasn't thinking and I forgot to hit record, so the only photo I got was at the end after spraying her a final time. Now we're on the last leg of the video, starting with the shoes. I took a pair of G1 shoes and used a Posca pen as an alternative to normal black acrylic as I had none at the time. Unfortunately, the Posca pen ink was at best a foundation layer as it scratched off very easily. Eventually, as you'll see with the text that's about to pop up, I decided to switch to my airbrush. Afterwards, I added the LiQWYD varnish to seal the colour and protect it. Side note, the fishnets she is wearing were made by a dear friend of mine, H. Arlie Crafts, who sent them to me as part of my Christmas gift last year. Next up, the yellow crop top. I won't be including the pattern as it's just a modified version of the Lightful's top pattern, link in the description below. Following the instructions, I sewed the top and added clasps to the back. I admittedly relied heavily on the Fabri-Tac for this garment as the material was difficult to work with and I didn't trust the stitching alone to keep it together. The skirt was a different beast. I didn't use a pattern, I kinda just eyeballed it and cut a length of fabric before gathering the top and sewing the lace, that was also a gift from H. Arlie Crafts, to the bottom of the skirt. I then sewed up the back 2/3 of the way to allow room for the tail, and lastly used embroidery thread to tie the two sides together into a cute red bow. With that, the outfit was complete. She was done. Meet Bridget the Baryonyx. It may have taken me 30 weeks to finish the doll and another 4 weeks to edit the video, but she's done. And for Halloween no less. Don't worry, she'll not be alone for long. I have many different prehistoric animals lined up for the near future. Only time will tell how many of these guys I get done next year, but I'm hoping to get one more out for you guys after Bridget here. For now, this creative book will see you in the next video. Goodbye.